Hey guys, how are things going? Gonna be talking a little bit about the latest patch for the Artifact 2.0 beta. Valve rolled out this patch as they do every week, and this week there's something to be a bit more excited about because they rolled out some changes to the shop, and we're gonna be going through all of the patch notes, some new cards added as well. I think this patch actually comes at a really great time for the game right now, because essentially, they have been kind of quiet. We know they're working on the tutorial for the game because the devs have admitted as much. And I don't know, I personally, and I know other people have been getting worried that they might not be wanting to change gameplay too much. So I think this patch tells us that, yes, they are indeed actually still looking at the gameplay and adapting things and seeing how we react. So great to see that they're working on it. I have gone through the patch notes, but I haven't played much yet. So we're going to be going through the patch notes and then also some of the changes to the items that were done accordingly, simultaneously with this patch. I also wanted to say before we kick things off, I will be organizing a tournament tomorrow again. So of course, this changes the meta, everything, and it was going to be interesting to see how people react. So if you're interested, yeah, do PM me, do join the Discord and so on, and I'll register you up for the tournament tomorrow. It is free to play, so you don't have to pay anything for that. All right, so let's jump into it. The patch rolled out yesterday, the 22nd of October, and it's called Shop 2.0. Let's go through exactly what they write here. Shop mechanics, item costs, and the shop UI have all been reworked. I will show you guys how the shop looks after we go through this paragraph. The base cost of each item tier now goes up by 10 rather than 5, so this is a big change since, as far as I can tell, the income doesn't change that much. There are some changes to the give gold mechanic, if you will. That's the next sentence. But now, basically, instead of going up 5 gold every time you upgrade the shop, you're going to be seeing an increase of 10 gold. So essentially, it's going to make it a bit harder to just buy those top tier items. Econ was rampant in the last patch. People were really going towards the tier 5 and buying all those expensive items, and for the most part multiples of them. And I think now that it's going to be way harder because tier 5 items are going to be costing 50 gold. It'll be interesting to see what that means for econ decks and for the meta in general, but I presume that's going to mean that spells will have more of a role and be more important, because for the most part games were basically ending based on items, and shop was like playing a huge role in the game. Mid-tier costs have also been added, so now not all items will cost the same, so not all tier 1 items will cost 10, rather you have like a subsection, so there's some discrimination now between the item costs inside the tiers. So you will have 10 and 15 in tier 1, you'll have 20, 25 in tier 2, and so on and so on. Which I also think for balance purposes makes sense, because not all items are created equal, and even though it would be great and perfect in an ideal world you'd have all the items perfectly balanced, I don't think that's ever going to happen. So it's good to have some sort of discrimination so that items that are considered more powerful or more important will probably go up those 5 gold, but we will see. All right, so tier 5 items costing the maximum of 50 gold, like I said, so there is no 55 gold item. I think it does create a bit of an issue where once you reach tier 5, there are some items that are clearly better than others, like Darkblight Shield, I think, being the number 1 item in the game, in my opinion, right now. And other items like Nyctasia's Guard and so on, I don't think, for the most part, I feel like people will not be willing to spend 50 gold on those items, but hey, we will see how things go. Now, this is huge now. Upgrading a shop no longer costs you any gold. So basically, you can do it for free. The alternative to not upgrading or not buying anything still exists, so you can still press the Give Me Gold button, and it's now called Skipping Shopping, and that gives you 5 gold fixed. It's no longer like an interest-based thing, Underlords type mechanic. Now, if you don't do anything, you just get 5 gold, that's it. So at least it's more straightforward, I feel like. Yeah, in some ways, this mechanic still kind of makes me feel a little bit weird, but I think overall this is like really a good improvement. And also, towers used to have a bounty of 10 gold, so every time you killed the first tower, you would get 10 gold. That no longer exists. So it kind of takes back a little bit from the snowballing that you would get once you would get like momentum going, would kill a tower, and then you get a boost, and double up on that advantage. And constructed now, and this I also really like, just because it's in line with everything that they've done so far. No more random items are added to your deck. It's just your item deck. You will get random item tier 1 items once you run out of your deck. That's fine for me. The problem, what I felt most of the time is like, I liked the RNG from the first game, and I didn't have huge problems with the 1.0 shop. But it was like very RNG heavy, and they have moved, their stance has been to move away from RNG, so it felt weird to, get unlucky when your opponent would hit an item like the Magicking Maul, or when you would hit an item like the Magicking Maul in a situation where you really needed it. Since the whole approach was to get rid of RNG, I think this is like consistent with that logic. So I'm happy that they did this. The rules for the shop slots have also been simplified. I cannot state how good this actually is. Shop was overly complicated in my opinion, so everything they can do to simplify the shop and make it easier to learn, make it easier to understand, I think is a positive. And it also takes some of that mini-game feeling that shop had, where it felt like there was this side game going on. You weren't just like building towards gold so you could buy an item or something. You were kind of micromanaging your economy and playing a side game between rounds, I felt like. So simplifying and making the shop easier to understand, I think, is a good step. So what that means now is that your left slot is always an item from your highest tier available. The right slot, an item from the lowest tier available. It used to be different, and item costs can no longer increase as you scan from the left to the right slot. And finally, now tier 5 items that cost 50 gold now cost 2 mana rather than 1 mana to equip. This is also something that I've said multiple times, where I thought that they should use mana and differentiated gold costs to balance shop and items better. So, like, from my perspective personally, I think these are all positive moves, simplifying the shop, making those game-ending items cost something. Now, like, even if you have the courier, you're gonna have to pay something for it. I think this is great. I really think this is a good move, and we're gonna see how things move from here on. But my initial prediction is that now econ decks will have to rather decide which tier they're going for, instead of just like no brain going to tier 5 and ending the game with those game ending items. Now maybe you can make a decision whether like you want to deck build really hard to go towards those tier 5 items, or whether you want to go for, I don't know, a Mjolnir, a tier 4 item, a tier 3 item, a sort of Khan Spear or something else that you feel, according to your deck building, is going to be what you need to end the game. So I think it adds to the deck building decisions, to the in-game choices, and I think overall that's positive, while still simplifying the whole concept of the shop. So let me show you guys real quick how the shop's looking like right now. We'll jump into a game real quick. Hey Pero, hey Agabozorg. Good to see you guys. So let's skip through a round really quick against the bot so that we can see how the shop's looking like, because they have reworked the UI. Right, I'm just gonna pass here real quick. Do you notice how you start now with the 10 gold, as mentioned? Right, just go through combat real quick. So shop's going to be popping up. You have your view board on the side instead of below now. Your gold is shown up here. It says which level you have. And you have this nice shopkeeper guy here asking you if you want to upgrade the secret shop. Now, upgrade, as said, costs nothing now. You see how all the item costs have been adapted. Strength twin, I haven't seen the items yet, so strength potion twin pack now costs 15. Used to be a 10 gold item. Ring of Basil is still at 10. You can buy, like I said, now this is, or like it's described, top tier on the left, bargain bin, and random in the middle. And you will see that you have this skip button. So let's quickly upgrade just to see what happens here. Red Mist Mall has been pushed up to 20 because it's a tier 2 item. All right, and once you upgrade, you lost the option to basically get those 5 gold because you took an action. So let's pop back into the notes to keep going through what they've changed. Hey Pronto, how's it going? Magnus is back. So Magnus had been taken out of the game. He's been reworked and he's red now. Magnus is now a 2/1/6 red hero. Instead of showing you the patch notes, I will show you the actual hero. Same art. So here we go, Magnus, red hero. The art actually kind of fits, interestingly. Makes you wonder if some of these heroes are actually designed to be in other colors. Magnus has an active ability called Skewer. Whoops. Called Skewer, which costs 1 mana, as they all do, and has a 2-turn active. Choose an unopposed slot within range 5, so you can't have an enemy on it. Magnus strikes the closest hero, not unit, hero, in that direction for 2 attack. So I guess strikes for 2 attack. So I guess it deals it 2 damage, and it's an attack because it's a strike. And moves it to the closest available slot. Move Magnus to it. So moves it to the closest available spot. So it doesn't move it to the slot in front. It moves it to the closest available slot, and it's cross lane, which is, I think, really big. Up until now, I think Timbersaw was the only red hero with a movement ability and cross lane ability at that. So we see them add a little bit of mobility to red. This is a hard ability to read. I think in any case, having an intimidate effect like this, where you can move an enemy hero out of the lane, can be quite powerful. Since you have to go with it at the same time, yeah, it's harder to interpret, and also the fact that it moves it to the closest available slot could in some cases mean that you don't even change the lane, so it's kind of a difficult to manipulate interaction. Yeah, Agabozorg is just pointing out that there's a new feature, which we will see in the patch notes, called Try Card Demo, so let's go for it. All right, so this is a really cool feature that they've added to the game now. I'm not aware that any card game at all has a try cards feature. So super cool, similar to what you see in Dota, where you can test a hero. So really, really good feature. I think this is a great idea. So if I bring this here. All right, so if I interpret the ability Skewered correctly, if I move here, I'm going to push Sorla to this right slot. Or is she going to maybe remain here? Aha, okay, so she can stay in front, actually. Okay. All right, then I kind of misinterpreted. I thought it wouldn't land in front. So it's good that we had a look at this. Oh, it even gives you refresher orb, so you can test it again. And this is his card, Shockwave. Cool art. Choose caster and an enemy. Deal 1 damage to the enemies between them. Then pull them towards the caster. Huh. Deal 1 damage to enemies between them. And then pull them towards the caster. So if I play this on this creep, I'm going to push Rex in front of Magnus. Is that correct? All right, so he has an interesting movement skill set. The card is cheap, so for the effect that it has, it sounds good. It feels somewhat like Darkseer's card. Interesting. It's hard for me to interpret. It doesn't seem like a constructed beast by any means, because it's a 2/16. So in a way, I kind of feels like maybe this should be a bit higher. On the other hand, he does strike for 2 damage every couple of rounds, and he's got good movement abilities. Timbersaw has a 3-round cooldown, so if you want to move more often, this might be good. All right. Interesting to see what people are gonna do with that. It seems like it definitely will be playable in draft, if nothing else. Card demos we just saw at the start of a feature allowing you to demo cards from the deck builder to understand how they work. Added demos for the first 6 red heroes. So they are like unique to them, because obviously they give you the signature cards and a refresher orb to try stuff again. Select the hero in deck builder and card. Alright, we've just done that. So gameplay. I don't think there's anything huge, but let's quickly go through it. Darkseer has been moved from green to red. Tiny has been moved from red to green, so there's a swapsies there. Keith the Bold's Reckless Charge now allows you to stay in place. This is great, because deploying Keith was often tricky, because you had to like figure out like I can't put him exactly where I want him. I have to play for his card. So this is really good. A nice little buff, quality of life buff. Phantom Lancer's Illusion Confusion can no longer be cast to ill effect by a rooted caster. Okay, so they're clear. Yeah, I have seen that they have been cleaning up these rooted effects where sometimes you forget that the unit is. That happened to me a few times playing against Crystal Maiden, because her card's roots now. So it's good that you can't play the card anymore if the unit's rooted. Yeah. So another quality of life change. Escape route can no longer be activated to no effect on a rooted unit. So exactly the same thing, but for escape route. Cheating Death can no longer be activated to no effect on a unit that already has a death shield. So once again, quality of life. Some quick bug fixes, fixed slot highlights, getting stuck on in various cases after using movement cards and abilities. Yeah, I have seen some weird highlight effects bugs, but whatever. Fixed particle effects getting stuck. Fixed unexpected physical damage during Mjolnir Archer Parapet interactions. Unexpected physical damage, okay. Turned off misleading highlights on tooltips and tiles, etc, etc. Okay, so all in all, it's actually like a small patch in terms of what's actually in there, the amount of stuff that they've done. But the shop changes are actually huge and going to have huge implications in terms of what's going to happen from here on. So yeah, I think very good patch, small, concise. It shows us a lot of stuff. It shows that they're still not happy exactly with everything. I mean, the community certainly has given mixed feedback on the shop. As far as I've read so far since yesterday, I think people are, for the most part, happy with this change to the shop. But now we're going to require some testing to see like how easy it is to actually get to those big items, and if people are happy with that or not, and how things work. Yeah, so props to Valve. Thanks for the update. If you guys are interested in playing tomorrow 15 UTC, there will be a match. Join the Discord and PM me for more informations if you want. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's that for the patch analysis.